My family threw a game night without me on my birthday. You're always so busy, we didn't think you'd want to come. I smiled through their excuses, then sent the Venmo request for the rent I covered. Dad read the caption. Happy birthday to me, the one paying for the roof over your heads. Me, 35 female, corporate attorney, working long hours in downtown Chicago. My dad, Carl, 61 male, semi-retired carpenter, struggling financially. My mom, Fern, 59 female, part-time florist, recently unemployed. My sister, Bria, 29 female, newly divorced, moved back in with my parents. I've been covering their rent and utilities to the tune of $2,300 a month for the last 3 years. Without me, they wouldn't have a place to live. On my birthday this year, they threw a game night. Invited cousins, friends, neighbors, everyone except me. Their excuse? We figured you'd be busy. So I sent the rent request with a little note. Happy birthday to me, the one paying for the roof over your heads. My birthday this year landed on a Saturday. I hadn't made plans, honestly, I just wanted a quiet weekend. I've been exhausted. I recently closed a difficult case, and I'd taken Friday off just to decompress. It was a rare treat for myself. No one in my family reached out that morning. Not my parents, not my sister. I brushed it off at first. Maybe they were planning something, I told myself. Maybe they were waiting until later. Around 4 p.m., I was curled up on the couch with a blanket, watching reruns of Law and Order, sipping tea, and feeling the early twinges of that lonely birthday ache. The kind you learn to hide after enough years of low expectations. Out of boredom, I opened Instagram and tapped through some stories. That's when I saw it. My cousin Ellie had posted a photo of a charade scorecard with the caption, Game night at Uncle Carl and Aunt Fern's. Partying game, love this crew. I paused. My thumb hovered, uncertain. Game night? At my parents'? I swiped again. A video of Bria cracking up over some ridiculous acting performance. More clips. My dad pouring drinks, my mom laughing with my aunt. Balloons, snacks, wine, it looked festive. It looked like a party. And there I was, alone in my apartment, on my birthday, watching it all unfold on someone else's phone screen. I stared at my phone for a full minute before texting our family group chat. Game night, huh? There was a pause. Those 3 bouncing dots appeared, then stopped. Then it appeared again. Then my dad finally responded. Laurel, sweetheart, we didn't think you'd be free. You're always so busy. Bria added, we figured you had your own plans, you usually do. There it was, the assumption I'd heard 100 times before. You're always working. You wouldn't have wanted to come. You never say yes anyway. Let me make something clear, I didn't ask to be the responsible one. I didn't plan to become the family breadwinner. I certainly never signed up to play landlord to my own parents. But when things fell apart for them, I stepped up. Quietly, without fanfare. I sent the rent, every single month. I didn't get thank yous. I didn't get check-ins. I just wired the money. And the one day, I quietly hoped for even a shred of thoughtfulness. I didn't even get a text. I didn't respond to their excuses. Instead, I opened Venmo. Requested $2,300 from my dad. In the notes section, I typed, Happy birthday to me, the one paying for the roof over your heads. And then I went back to watching TV. The silence after that was deafening. No one replied that night. I didn't expect fireworks. But I guess I thought something might happen. Maybe an apology, some explanation. Sunday morning rolled around and I was brushing my teeth when my phone rang. It was my dad. I answered, not really sure what I wanted to say. His voice came through flat and tense. That was a bit harsh, Laurel. I waited. He didn't elaborate. Then he added, we didn't mean to hurt you. It was just a last-minute thing. That's when I lost it, not with yelling, but with quiet, measured honesty. The kind that stings more because it's calm. You had wine, you had snacks, you had party games and balloons. That's not last minute. That's planned. You planned a party and didn't invite the person paying your rent. He started to say something, then stopped. I don't care about charades, I said. I care that you didn't think about me at all. Not a call, not a text, not even a hey, are you free? Another pause. We didn't want to pressure you, he muttered. I gave a bitter little laugh. But you have no problem accepting $2,300 every month. That pressure's okay? He got quiet, really quiet. That's when I knew it had finally landed. Maybe not all the way, but enough. The next few weeks were awkward. I didn't send the rent for November. A week passed. Then 2. I got a long email from my dad, outlining their difficult financial position. He tried to sound formal, like he was applying for a grant, not writing to his daughter. I didn't respond. Bria sent a short, sharp text. "You're seriously not helping us anymore? After everything?" Yes, after everything. I didn't reply to her either. By the third week of November, they were scrambling. Mom picked up some shifts at the flower shop again. Dad called an old client and started doing repairs on the side. Bria found a part-time job at a dog grooming place, the same one she used to mock me for taking my rescue lab to because it was too expensive. They didn't thank me. They didn't apologize, but they got resourceful when the lifeline disappeared. I watched it unfold with a strange mix of sadness and relief. They could do it, they just hadn't bothered before. That, more than anything, hurt the most. Not the party, not even the forgotten birthday. It was the realization that the help I'd been giving wasn't seen as kindness. It was just expected. We didn't talk on Thanksgiving, not a single message. Christmas was polite. I got a card. No gift. I sent one back along with a handwritten note, wishing you strength and self-reliance this season. Since then, things have changed. I'm no longer the family piggy bank. I've redirected that money into a travel savings account. I've started taking pottery classes on weekends, made a few new friends. I sleep better. Breathe easier. Bria moved in with a friend. She posts pictures of her new room with captions like "Fresh Start Cherry Sparkles" and "Grateful for my chosen family." Not once has she mentioned the years she spent living rent-free under the kindness of a sister she ignored. My parents still live in the townhouse for now. They're making ends meet barely, but they're managing. I see them occasionally. We're civil, but it's different now. Something unspoken has shifted. I wish I could say the distance brought clarity for them the way it did for me, but that would be too tidy. In real life, people don't always get it. Not the first time. Sometimes not ever. A couple of months after the birthday incident, my aunt, Mom's sister, invited me to a brunch in Oak Park. I hesitated, but eventually went. She's always been one of the few family members I can talk to without feeling like I'm walking on eggshells. As soon as I walked in, she gave me a long hug, one of those I know kinds of hugs. Over a shared spinach quiche and endless refills of black coffee, she finally asked me, "So, are you and your dad speaking again?" I shrugged. "Barely. He sends the occasional 'hope you're well' text, mostly when he wants to forward a chain email or complain about property taxes." She winced a little. "He's proud, Laurel, always has been. Doesn't always know how to show when he's sorry." I nodded. "I'm not waiting for an apology, just some effort would be nice." She looked at me carefully and said, "You know, I think they got too used to you being the stable one. That's the problem with strong people. Everyone assumes you don't need anything." That hit harder than I expected. It's true. I've always been the one with the answers, the job, the car, the plan. When Bria's marriage fell apart, I didn't blink. I just offered her the guest room until we found a place for her. When Dad's business dried up, I crunched the numbers and said, "I'll handle the rent." When Mom lost her job, I added an extra $300 to my monthly transfer so she wouldn't feel like a burden. Her words. No one ever asked if I was okay with it. They just assumed I was. And the truth is, for a long time I thought I was okay with it. I wore the role like armor. The provider, the reliable one, the responsible daughter. But that birthday peeled something back. Showed me how thin the line was between generosity and being taken for granted. Around mid-January, I got a text from Bria. It was the first time she'd reached out in over a month. "Hey, Mom mentioned you might be coming by next week. I won't be there. Just wanted to say I've been thinking about everything." I didn't know what to make of it. Thinking could mean anything. It could mean she was realizing how much she relied on me, or it could mean she was still stewing over the Venmo note. Still, I replied, "I hope you're doing okay." She didn't text back for 2 days. Then, "I'm not mad anymore. Just confused, I guess. Everything changed so fast." I stared at that message for a while. I typed out, deleted, and retyped half a dozen versions of a reply. Eventually, I settled on honesty. "Nothing changed. I just stopped pretending it didn't hurt." She replied, eventually, "I didn't mean to make you feel invisible. I really didn't. I got used to you handling things." There it was again, got used to it. And that was the problem. It wasn't malicious. It was just casual neglect, familiarity turning into entitlement. I had slowly become a background utility in their lives, invisible until I shut off. Mom called me a few days later. Her tone was cautious, but not cold. She asked if I wanted to come by for dinner the following weekend. Just us, no fuss, nothing fancy. I agreed, more out of curiosity than comfort. When I arrived at the townhouse, I noticed something right away. The porch light was broken again. The doorbell didn't work. The house looked tired, like a home that had been resting too long on someone else's shoulders. Inside, Mom had made baked ziti and garlic bread, my favorite growing up. She didn't say it was a birthday do-over, and I didn't ask. But it was quiet, warm, and surprisingly heartfelt. We ate, mostly in silence. After dinner, she poured tea and sat across from me, cradling the mug like she was gathering courage. "I want to say thank you," she said. I blinked, unsure if I'd heard her right. "For what?" I asked. "For keeping us afloat, for longer than you ever should have had to." Her voice cracked a little on the word should. I nodded. "You're welcome." She reached for a napkin, dabbed at the corner of her eye. "We took it for granted, Laurel, we really did." It was the first time anyone in my family had admitted it outright. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just sat there, feeling the full weight of her words settle in. They didn't erase what had happened, but they mattered. Maybe more than I expected them to. That dinner didn't fix everything. There were still awkward silences. Still moments when I could sense my dad's pride getting in the way of real conversation. But it was a start. In the weeks after, I noticed little changes. Bria invited me to coffee once. Mom started texting me recipes. Dad even sent me a photo of a bookshelf he'd built, his way of saying, "I'm still working, I'm still trying." I didn't reoffer the financial support. They didn't ask. And that mutual silence, it felt like progress. February rolled in with its bitter wind and snow-blasted sidewalks. Chicago is never gentle this time of year, and I found myself embracing the solitude more than usual. I was no longer waiting for texts or calls from my family. I had adjusted, healed, and started redirecting my energy towards something else: boundaries. One Saturday morning, while sipping coffee and scrolling through Zillow, an admittedly guilty pleasure, I found a small fixer-upper condo in Andersonville. Two-bedroom, lots of light, outdated kitchen, but charming in a way that felt like potential. I wasn't looking to move, but something about that space whispered, "Start fresh." I bought it. Quietly, privately. I didn't tell anyone, not even my closest friends. I took a few personal days, hired a local contractor, and began slowly renovating the place, not to resell, but to turn into a long-term rental. Here's the twist. My parents' landlord, the one I'd been paying for indirectly all these years, listed their Glenview townhouse for sale in March. I saw the listing through sheer coincidence or divine timing. Their lease was expiring and the new owner planned to raise the rent. Significantly, I kept my reaction to myself, but I paid attention. By April, my mom called me. Her tone was thinly veiled panic. "We're looking for a new place. The new landlord wants too much and Bria can't pitch in." I said calmly, "I hope you find something." I meant it. But I wasn't about to offer. A few days later, I got another call, this time from my dad. "You don't happen to know of any affordable places in a decent area, do you?" That was the moment, my moment. I told him, "Actually, I do. I just finished renovating a two-bedroom condo. Top floor, good light. Near Clark Street. I was going to list it next week." Silence. "You're renting it?" he asked slowly. "I am," I said, "but not for free and not at a discount." More silence. Then he cleared his throat. "How much?" I quoted a fair price, not extortionate, but enough to make a point. He whistled. "That's more than we've been paying." "That's the market," I said. He didn't argue. Not this time. They came to view the place the following weekend. My mom loved it. My dad tried not to. Bria walked around in quiet disbelief. "This is yours?" she asked. "Yes." "You bought it," she repeated, slower. "I did." There was a pause, and then, almost bitterly, she muttered, "Must be nice." I met her eyes and said, "It is, but it wasn't free." They took the unit. I made them sign a proper lease. Standard terms. Deposit, references, everything. I hired a property manager to handle the details, not to be cold, but to make sure this remained business. Not family charity. They never missed a payment after that. And every month I saw the rent hit my account. On time. Full amount. I didn't need the money. That wasn't the point. The point was control. For once I wasn't giving, I was earning. And they were learning. It wasn't petty, it was fair. And in its own quiet way, deeply satisfying. They now lived under my roof, not metaphorically, but literally. And I didn't throw it in their faces. I never brought it up during dinners. I never reminded them that the hardwood floors beneath their feet were something I chose, paid for, and stained myself with borrowed gloves and aching fingers. I just smiled when my mom complimented the lighting, or when my dad grunted about the plumbing being solid. Eventually, even Bria softened. One day, while dropping off a rent check in person, she lingered. "I don't think I ever said thank you," she said quietly. "You didn't," I replied, not unkindly. "Well, thank you." She looked ashamed. That was enough for me.